Hey everybody, this is Perch. I'm stuck in traffic. Not that you give a shit about any of that, but there you have it. All right, what do we got? We got a mail here. New characters, damned if you do and if you don't. Okay, I mean this sounds like one of those classic fence sitter videos that Perch fans love. Greetings and salutations, Perch. That's a very fancy opening. Been a listener of the show since 2019. Kick ass and enjoy listening to your thoughts on comics. You're much calmer and rational than some other YouTube channels that consistently go into negatives about the comic industry. Thank you. Comic Drake did a video regarding Riri Williams and said something I found interesting. He pointed out a supposed hypocrisy in the people that say, stop changing old characters and make new ones instead. He stated that if a new character gets made with flaws, especially if the new character is a person of color or LGBTQ, that people will find the character unlikable and annoying. If they swing the other way and make them too powerful or too smart, then people will call them Mary Gary Sues. Gary Sue? Is Gary Sue a thing? Because that sounds insufferable. I have not seen Gary Sue, but ugh, okay. Although now I kind of want to make a Mary Sue website parody. You know, there's a website called the Mary Sue, and I call it GarySue.com, and I like it's just about really fat, gross bro culture. Like it's celebrating like just shitty movie. Like this movie has a dude in it, and we're all in for it. I I don't know. I have neither the time nor the energy to do that, but it's funny in my head. Anyway, continue with mail. Basically, new characters are put into a no-win situation, hence why Marvel DC resort to changing old characters instead. He gave an example that Riri was written like an annoying narcissist on purpose so that she could eventually learn and grow out of it just like Tony Stark did. Do you think there's any truth to his statement about new characters? Okay, there's more mail here, and we'll get to it in a second, but I want to grab something right away. I think there's a little bit of truth to that statement, but I think it's slightly disingenuous in that there's not really a lot of people who complain about new characters with flaws. There's just not. And the example of Riri Williams is a bad one because Bendis definitely did not write that character to be a narcissist on purpose and annoying. He definitely did not. It was not an attempt to, have her grow out of a Tony Stark-like phase. And we know this because Bendis said it himself many, many, many times. He wrote that character believing that was the right way to write the character. And, he wanted somebody who could give Tony Stark a run for his money, but not in a who's annoying and mature way, but a confident, black female character. He wrote that as it came across. I think future writers tried to repair that, but definitely that was not his intent. But again, and I'm just using his own words tell me that. That's not my guess. But I think so. The true part to this statement is that because I think Drake. I'll be honest. I don't have a lot of. I do not agree with many of Comic Drake's takes. I'll just put that out on the table there. I think he goes into fairly disingenuous territory quite a bit, and he definitely has a point of view of kind of wanting to put the blame on the fans. And even in this situation, yeah, fans can be hard to please. Trust me, I sold comics to them for decades. But at the same time, if they are the customer spending the money. So if the story doesn't land with them, you can't turn around and blame the customer for that. You didn't, as somebody creating a story, you didn't create something that was marketable and purchasable. Whether, for whatever reason, the end result, the pragmatic end result is the same. You didn't land the message with your customer. And, that's where you are. And I think there's just there gets to be a lot of noise around. Well, it failed, but it wasn't our fault. It's like, well, it's not really a fault thing. It's a you wanted to make money off this and you didn't thing. That's really what it is. But anyway, let's finish the mail here. It says, moreover, this kind of also relates to your giant size X-Men video where it stated if it came out today, it'd be treated as the woke-apocalypse of comics. But the majority of the commenters disagreed. The comment said the new X-Men characters were flawed and progressive ideas weren't shoehorned in and the story was placed as a priority. In my opinion, people are saying this with the benefit of hindsight. You're 100% right. Since the story and the characters introduced are now considered classics and staples. I'm seeing a push and pull here between the two sides. What's your opinion on the whole new characters not being given a fair chance and how the modern comics audience reacts to new characters? Are they being too harsh or there's something else to the story? By the way, in that giant size, I did see a bunch of people disagree, but yeah, they are absolutely looking at it with the benefit of hindsight. I'm sorry. If Giant Size X-Men came out today with the same kind of replace the original characters with the new characters, yeah, there'd be lots of people bitching. There'd be plenty of YouTube thumbnails with like people huffing and puffing and like, this is bullshit. 100%. I'm sorry, there would be. As I said in that other video, and it's true, the big difference would be that if that Giant Size X-Men was done today, there's a good chance Chris Claremont would be on Twitter going, we really wanted to get out of all this whiteness in comics, and that's why we did what we did. I mean, but who are we kidding? He wouldn't be allowed to write the comic anyway because he is white. So, I mean, there's blame on all sides here. And I definitely think that a lot of the properties today suffer from the fact that the creators go on and intentionally want to poke the shit out of the audience for reasons that are baffling to me. It is like everybody saw the Eric Bischoff book, Controversy is Cash, and then they didn't actually read the book, just like some people don't watch the videos, and they ran with it. I think whenever I see a creator or a Hollywood producer or somebody give an interview talking about, we really wanted to, not create another, male-oriented power fantasy and, explore blackness in science fiction. Like that's a shitty way to advertise your movie, your comic, whatever it happens to be, and it. That's a bad approach. People keep doing that, and all they do is it's like picture your comic character is standing on the pier, and we're going to see if they can swim across, the lake. And before they start swimming, we're just going to kind of chain to their ankle several boulders. Be like, let's see what happens now. And that's what they do. They just make everything difficult for themselves. It is never a good strategy to lead with screw with the audience, but some people do. There's some speculation that sometimes they do because they know their property or their project, whatever it happens to be, is flawed and is going to have trouble, is not going to sell well. So they're trying to preempt some of it by getting some hate views as a way to salvage some of the money. Maybe that's, I think there's some truth to that. I don't think it's a winning strategy. I don't think it's the leading strategy, but I definitely think there's some of it. But in terms of new characters, look, I think there is one bit of truth. I think people have to kind of reckon with it, which is whether we like it or not. And when I say we, I mean the customers, the fans, the creators, everybody, whether you like it or not. People who are buying comics because they like Superman are expecting to get Superman. Superman, the archetype character that has existed for 60, 80 plus years. They have in their head, this is Superman. They kind of want Superman to be the Superman they know, with the costume they know and the attitude they know and everything else. And they don't really want it to change. And that's not a, dinosaur way of thinking. It's not a racist or a sexist way of thinking. It's just, when you pick up a Hershey's bar of chocolate, you're expecting to bite into chocolate. If suddenly you bite into it, it tastes like spinach, you're going to wonder what the fuck happened. And if the company who's making the Hershey bar go, well, we decided it's time for a change. What, we're supposed to just keep making the same old candy month after month? That why would we do that? You look at them like they were crazy. And comic books, even though it is a creative endeavor, the big two comics are they're like Coca-Cola. They're like Hershey's bars. They're standard characters. They're icons that people know, and the companies, Marvel, DC, have been basically making money off of that for decades, making money off these archetypes, making money off of these very well-established characters. They did this. That's how they make their money. So when they turn around and say, we want to keep making money off the thing that we've drilled into your head for the past 50 years, but we're going to change it completely because we also want to make, some of our new friends over here happy that we're, diverse and inclusive and trying to do all these new things. I mean, what do you think's going to happen? People coming to buy these comics are coming to buy the thing they know. So that's just a reality. And so if you introduce new characters, you've got an uphill battle to climb. You've got a tough journey ahead of you. But that shouldn't be a big surprise, because when Superman, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Captain America, all these characters were created, when Spider-Man was created, he was not known around the world. It took decades for that character to become as popular as he was. I mean, how many years before we had a major motion picture for Spider-Man? You know, that what Spider-Man's first movie, the Tobey Maguire film, was in the 90s. Spider-Man was created in the 60s. It's 30 years plus that it took for there to be kind of a big budget Spider-Man movie. Yes, there are TV shows and everything before that and cartoons, but it didn't happen overnight. And I think what Marvel and DC fail to understand is that it's going to take a while for these characters to bake in and become popular, a long while. So get comfortable and stick it out for the marathon. But if you introduce a new character and a year later you don't have vast, overwhelming support for this character, well, duh. Why would you? It takes a while for these things to stick. You got to be patient. And then trying to cram it down people's throats is only going to make that go longer. You're more likely to piss people off. I think there's a huge gap in the understanding of how long it takes characters to develop. And in terms of flaws, I mean, yeah, if you're trying to make the character well-rounded, it's experimentation. It's going to be tricky. And you are absolutely right. Fans are going to sit there and go, well, this character has no flaws. They're a Barry, or I guess I've learned today, Gary Sue. Or this character is so flawed they're annoying and they suck. And who would ever like this character? I agree. It's going to be hard to traverse that dynamic. But as the content creator, you have to learn from the past and learn from history and realize it's going to take a long ass time for this character to be popular, for it to sink in. Even runaway hit characters, like look, DC believes they've got a runaway hit in Tinian's Punchline. Okay, Punchline sold a couple books when Punchline came out, but you'd be a fool to say that Punchline is a world-renowned character that everybody knows and can actually sell comics and movies and merchandise and licensing all on her own. She's absolutely nowhere close to that point. It will take many years and a lot of hard work for her to become that. So that's the real challenge here. I think that the rest is just it. Look, it's hard work. Comics is hard work. Buckle up. There's no shortcutting that. But thank you very much, Famel. I mean, I think it's an interesting dynamic. There's no true answer. It is a push and pull kind of scenario. And the only thing, if you're a publisher, just, buckle up and put in the work. And if you put in the work, these characters will come around. Look, Deadpool, despite what Rob Liefeld said, and I've listened to some of his recent interviews, Deadpool was not a runaway hit on issue number 1. He was not. Ask any retailer, you will see. If you're going back and like, yeah, but his first appearance is worth a lot of money. That's very different. That's collectors. And again, look at how the character was received when Deadpool first came out. People didn't hate him, but he was not anywhere close to as popular as he became, years later. But they put in the work with the character, and that's what happened. Harley Quinn, people liked that character when she first came out. It certainly took several years for it to become as popular as she did, and then they overdid it with both characters. But sometimes these characters are portrayed as runaway hits right out the gate. And like even Spider-Man, when he came out, fans liked it. People thought this was a fun comic. They started an ongoing series. People bought it. 10 years later, it was selling at least triple what it sold when it first came out. That's math. Those are the numbers. So what does that mean? It means the comic sales grew over time and the character became more popular. The character wasn't instant popular. Anyway, for what it's worth, thank you very much, Mel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.